Crazy. Rich. Asians. We're talking Crazy Rich Asians today. If that's why you're here, good, because otherwise I don't know why you clicked on the video. Before we start talking Crazy Rich Asians, I feel like I need to just kind of preface this whole video by saying, well, by answering the question. I'm going to answer the question before you even ask it, because I know somebody's going to be like, Miss Collier, it's July. Yes, I realize it's January and it took me a long time to upload this video. It's fine, whatever. Why are you wearing a sweatshirt? Because it's cold in here. Okay? My basement is cold. That's why I'm wearing a sweatshirt. Don't worry about it. We're going to talk about a book today. So, forget about the sweatshirt. It's fine. Anyways, we're talking Crazy Rich Asians today. Before we talk about anything else, I need to tell you who wrote them. His name is Kevin Kwan. That's how you spell it. It's very phonetic. Kevin Kwan. He wrote 3 books in the Crazy Rich Asians series, which it has come to be known as, even though the first book is actually the only one that's called Crazy Rich Asians. And I think that it's accurate to call the whole trilogy Crazy Rich Asians, because the name Crazy Rich Asians explains the situations that we read about in these books very accurately. You could kind of look at this 2 different ways. You could look at it as saying like, oh, how rich are these people? And then saying, they're crazy rich. They're crazy rich Asians. Or you could look at it as, these people are crazy. These people are rich, and of course, they're from Asia. They're Asians. So, Crazy Rich Asians. It is 3 books. So the first one is Crazy Rich Asians. The second one is called China Rich Girlfriend. And the third one is called Rich People Problems. Crazy Rich Asians, book number 1. I don't actually have it with me because my friend Sarah borrowed it from me in October and hasn't given it back to me yet. So Sarah, please give it back. But it looks like this. Right here, this orange one. That is Crazy Rich Asians. Ugh. Okay. So Crazy Rich Asians follows 2 people. We have Rachel, who she has Asian heritage, but she grew up in the United States. And her boyfriend, Nick Young. And the person that we kind of really need to remember is Nick Young, because Nick Young has a family, and they are the Crazy Rich Asians. So, in the front of these novels, there are family trees. So, you can reference back to the family trees when you need to remember who these people are. I'm not going to hold it up close enough for you to read it, because whatever, but this is a family tree, and as you go down the line, you see different generations. Like, this is one generation, and then here are their kids. Anyways, Nick Young has a crazy rich family, and Rachel doesn't really know this. She just thinks that her and Nick are professors in the United States, and that whatever, they're just living their lives. And then Nick has to go home to Singapore. And Singapore is a very small island, and it has a ton of people who have a ton of money. I think I saw somewhere in one of these books where there's like 12 billionaires in this tiny little island this big. That's a lot of billionaires. Tons of money. So much money. It's not even fathomable. So much money. And Rachel doesn't know this about Nick, so then when they go to Singapore, surprise! We have so much money, and my family is super judgmental. And so Crazy Rich Asians, the first book, is really about Rachel trying to figure out how, or if, she really fits into Nick's family, because they're Crazy Rich Asians. And she's just, you know, it's a bit of a learning curve. And of course she's a little bit upset because she's like, hi, Nick, you're my boyfriend and you never told me that your family is crazy rich. So, you know, that's book 1 in a very small nutshell. Book 2 is called China Rich Girlfriend. So one of the issues that Nick's family has with Rachel is that she's not crazy rich. So Nick's mom kind of dives into Rachel's parentage. She grew up with her mom in the United States, but her mom told her a tiny little lie about her dad, and it turns out to be, a lie. It's not true. And so Nick's mom actually uncovers this whole situation where Rachel then has to confront this man and his family that she never knew was her dad. So book 2 is all about Rachel trying to figure out how she fits in, or if she wants to fit in, with her dad's family that she has never known until she was 30 years old or whatever. So that's book 2. And then book number 3 is called Rich People Problems. When someone dies, typically they have a will. What a will says is, let's just say I have $100 and, I died. And I said I would like $50 to go to my sister and $25 to go to this brother and $25 to go to that brother. Then I would sign it, and like a lawyer would sign it and all this fun stuff that makes it legal and real. So when rich people die, rich people's wills are much more complicated than that. And with Nick's grandma is the person who is on her deathbed in this situation. And as far as everybody knows, she is super loaded. So much money, you can't even, nobody even knows how much money she has. So pretty much all these people want a piece of grandma's money pie. So they all flock to grandma's house because they're hoping that they can, wiggle their way in and get something. If it's, jewelry or property or cars or money or whatever. Everybody wants something. And Nick kind of has to, Nick and his grandma kind of have to relearn to get along a little bit, but anyways. So book 3 is all about how grandma is about to die and everybody wants her money. And there's just family drama galore. So some things that just kind of go over the whole 3 books that I think I enjoyed the most. So first of all, Kevin Kwan, the author, grew up in a situation very similar to this. Maybe even very close to this, where he knew a lot of people who were crazy rich. And he said, I saw an interview with him one time where he said the amount of absolutely off-the-wall stuff that I put in this book that people have a hard time believing. For example, there's a woman who has, first of all, a private jet. Second of all, it's got like a movie theater in it, and like a spa, and she's got a private chef, all on a private jet. Like, can you imagine how much money that costs? So anyways, he said, a lot of the stuff that I put in is watered down. Because if I actually put the stuff in the book that I lived in my childhood, people wouldn't believe it. Which is just absolutely bananas to me. But anyways, it's really kind of fun to see like how the other half lives. Like if you were somebody who was ridiculously rich, how maybe you could spend some of your money. Like for example, one of the things that I really like about this book is the fashion that he describes. And these people are not wearing, Gucci and Chanel, okay? They're wearing like brands that are so expensive we've never even heard of them, okay? So I thought that was really cool, the different fashion that he talks about, because appearance is very important to these people. One of the other things that I really like about these books is how much I learned from them. I cannot pretend like I am an expert in Asian culture at all, and so kind of looking at some real world examples is actually really fun. And a lot of times, one of the really cool things that Kevin Kwan does in these books to kind of help us learn is that, first of all, he uses words and phrases in different languages to make it makes it feel way more authentic. So a few of the languages that he uses is like Filipino, Malay, Cantonese. I'm just trying to think of other languages that he uses. But then he does a translation for you at the bottom. So like this down here at the bottom of the page, that's a translation. Other things that he does is he will put a little asterisk, so like a little star, and he will link you down to well, this one's kind of long, but he will give you an explanation. This one is actually a really long explanation, but there's an asterisk up here, and then he links you down to this area where you can read about what he's talking about. Because for a lot of us, we don't really understand some of the customs and norms that are happening in these books. So he links us to an explanation so that while you're reading it, you can be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Without him having to go into a huge explanation like in the middle of the page. So he links you down to the bottom to give you a little lesson in, you know, culture. And I think that that's super cool. These books I would recommend to people probably upper high school. I would say this is definitely like a PG 15-ish series. I really enjoyed it. The whole series. I enjoyed the whole series, and I think older upper high school would as well. And they are quick reads. They're really fun. They kind of teach you a little bit of something that maybe you wouldn't have picked up before, but it's in a really fun way. And these books are really interesting because so many of the things that he's talking about are factual, but he's just put them in a non-fiction type of story. There's a whole lot of stuff between the generations that I think is just very eye-opening, and it's very cool to read about. So, you know, the differences between what mom and dad think versus kid. And I mean, these kids are adults, but still they have very different values, and I think that that's kind of telling, and it's, you know, accurate for almost any culture. So they're a really fun read, and I think you will want to read the books if you want to see the movies. I'm excited for the movies, the next two to come out. So if you have read them and whatever you thought of them, let me know. Also, if you watched the movie and you liked the movie and you maybe heard something that I said that reminded you of the movie, also let me know. See you later.